continuing the on the theme of international solidarity, we're going to hear a few words from Curtis Desjournais. Did I say your name right?
Yes.
Yeah. Who is a member of UAW 551, who organizes the Ford Assembly Plant and was a leader of the 2023 stand-up strike against the Big Three. So thank you, Curtis, for joining us. There you go.
Thank you, Julie, and the distinguished panel. On behalf of UAW 551, local President Chris Pena, Plant Chairman Alan Colby Millender, we greet everyone in solidarity, and you have our full support. So I just want to start with that. I want to take this time to pause for a minute and read a statement from our President, Shawn Fain, about the situation in Minnesota and what's happening and the latest murder of Alex Preddy. So I'd like to read this statement from Shawn Fain, our president. The UAW stands in solidarity with the family and loved ones of our fallen union brother, Alex Preddy, and all those standing up for justice in Minneapolis and beyond. Alex was an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis Veterans Affairs Hospital and a member of AFGE Local 3669. He was a fellow union member doing what UAW members do all the time, heeding the call for solidarity, exercising his constitutional right. For that, he was killed in the street like a dog. Our union mourns his loss, and our thoughts are with his family, his union, and his community. As proud unionists, we value our constitutional freedoms, the right to free speech, the right to protest, our core, who we are as Americans and union members. The killing of peaceful protesters like Alex threatens our rights and our constitutions. In moments like these, the labor movement must not be silent. Unions in Minnesota took actions last Friday, January 23rd, by participating in a general strike and protested across the state. If the right to protest or speak freely is under attack, then our rights as workers are not safe. Our freedoms to strike or to walk the picket line to win a better life may be threatened next. And we all know who is the instigator of these type of tactics. So I want to segue into more of a local corporate structure and talk about the strike and what preempted that, because there were strikes all along in history in the United States, but never at the same time with the Big Three. So it was a precedent that was set from the top down, sponsored by our President Fain and his crew. It was really a very organized, very tactical, and very deliberate attack versus the Big Three, because it's a us versus them mentality, and that's how they think. They, as workers, and I work for Ford, we're just a number. You know, they really don't care. It's all about money. So knowing that, the attack plan was, instead of GM, Ford, and Stellantis or Chrysler striking Singularity, they did it wholeheartedly. And what they did, instead of shutting everything down, they took a plan of action to strike the hardest, most profitable plants around. So it kept the Big Three off balance. And if anybody kind of followed the strike, the CEOs, the rhetoric, the propaganda, the BS, basically, that they try to put out there to make the workers look like it's our fault, like we're being greedy, when really they were undercutting so many things that people that weren't in the know, would be like, oh, they make so much money, they make a good living, what are they worried about? It wasn't that. It was working conditions. It was so many things that they were taking off the table when it came to the bargaining. So the strike was very targeted, and it was very effective, and it kind of brought them to their knees. It was the longest strike basically for the three to, do it. I mean, first it was a precedent. It was 46 days, about 50,000 workers. So I will segue because I was a strike captain. So I was on the front line. So our CEO basically said, we called it a stand-up strike. So what he did was about maybe 20 days in, he came to the plant like 10 cars deep. He thought it was the president was coming. So I was outside. We were striking 24 hours, of course, and they pulled up. So what he did is they were so petty. They went through the plant, took all the chairs out, put them in garbage cans. It was like, well, if you guys want to stand up strike, then you ain't going to sit down at work. His words. So it just emboldened us to keep, the fight going. And I want to say one thing about solidarity. We got about 5,000 people at our plant, all walks of life, races, color, creed, all that. So just being humanistic, we know we all have certain inbred prejudices and things, how we were raised. I don't care. I'm not trying to, this is not a judgment call on anybody, but what was key to me is when we struck, everybody was together, and it was like beautiful to see. I mean, like old, young, white, black, age, it didn't matter. Everybody was on the same page, and it was a galvanizing effect. And I was really invigorated to keep that going. So when we they had record profits. So they cried broke, but of course, if you stay the course, stay diligent and vigilant, you can make headway. And basically, the corporations globally, I don't care if it's Cuba, Venezuela, Thailand. I went to Labor Notes a couple years ago in Chicago, and my eyes were like wide open I didn't know how good we had it here. I mean, I cry about the strike, but it almost brought me to tears. Some of the mistreatment, around the world. It was like I had to really dig in and just kind of refocus. Like, okay, we got it good here. I mean, we have a little bit of I don't know what you call it, BS coming from the Trump organization, but not like global, like a Cuba or I can't even let you know the depths of the pain people were describing, workers. I'm talking about they didn't have masks for chemicals, and they were dying from lung. It was surreal. So the segue back to the states and the Trump organization and what they're doing and the Gestapo tactics that they're doing with ICE and all that. UAW, of course, is standing on the front lines of that, and I wholeheartedly back them, and we do as a solidarity force, and we want to at any time. I kind of tell people look, solidarity doesn't. You don't have to do the most, the biggest things, the things that are so loud. Sometimes it's the smallest things. It starts in the home. It starts in, your mind, your mental space, where you want to go, because we're all in this together. It's us versus them, and they really look like that. They look at us as basically disposable, Now, I'm from Michigan, and Trump was there last week in Dearborn. And I don't know if you guys seen it.
Yes, of course.
It was so funny, but he was so crass and so Trump that you like. It wasn't shocking, but it was like, this dude is just, I don't know. He thinks he's the king. So this YouTube it. I'll make it quick and short. So one of our union members, he's walking through the plant, and he goes, calls him a pedophile protector. Trump hears it. They mute the FU because he said it loud out his mouth. Then he gave him the bird, not the casual, he really stuck it out there. I was like, man, this guy's off his rocker. So Long story short, that member got suspended by Ford. So they did a GoFundMe. Right now it's like 1.2 million or something. So I was like, I'll say it, you know what I'm saying? I'll you know, so it was really, I was really glad that the union got behind him, and, you know, they couldn't fire him because, you know, of course he'd sue the pants off of Ford. You can suspend him all you want to, but the freedom of speech, the whole, just where we're at in the whole political realm and how it's affecting our everyday lives, and I see it erode the morale at you know, at our job site, and it's a trickle down effect. But they know what they're doing, and they do it because they know that it's a decisive tool, and it has results. So we just have to flip the script, because what divides us also binds us. And that's key, because they know they have studies, they have think tanks. They don't just wake up, you know, and think about next week, next paycheck. These corporations think 10, 20, 30 years down the pipeline. So to us, we're just a number, we're disposable. And I just wanted to say to everybody that sometimes it is discouraging, but the fight is worth it, because if we don't, we all we got. I'm telling you, it ain't about color. It ain't about, to them, it's about the haves and haves not. You know, people want to say, well, I'm a Trump supporter. I said, what are you supporting? Now, if you feel like, you know, if it's working for you, and this is not like a political rant, and I'm not attacking anybody's political stance. This is not that, but you see the type of tactics that he, you know, is employing from the Fed chairman on down. He's taking no prisoners, and he wants total control. So total control means what? All your civil liberties are gone. And he just eroding it, you know, and when they do, they hide in plain sight. So last night, you don't know what type of executive orders he signed in the night. You know, we were asleep, and that's how they're working. So we just have to be that vigilant and that diligent on the solidarity piece to keep supporting each other and keep our own mental and spirits alive, because it's a spiritual battle too. And I'm not about to get a religious rant, but there's a higher power that we have to call on, because this is a fight that is very exhausting, but worth it, but very, 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 very poignant. And we have to do it. If not, I'm telling you, they got an agenda. If you really want to do the research and break down how, I know we're doing some things that are economic, but what they're doing, they just want total control. And they hide in plain sight. And I know it's kind of a, you know, people say, well, you know, the government wouldn't do that. I mean, just look at history. If history's taught us anything, then we know that if we don't make waves to change it, it'll just repeat. And I hate to say this, but if you just follow Trump, it's Hitler's playbook. They start demonizing lawyers, free speech, any type of dissension, from the strike to anything. Because remember what he said to Elon, we'll just fire them all. F him, fire him, you know what I'm saying? You know, he was exposed on, you know, you know what he said behind closed doors, but it was recorded. But we all know what it does. It just makes us they try to demoralize us so we don't have anything to fight for, or we feel like the fight is not winnable. But it is, because as long as there's somebody to stand up and say, no, this isn't right, then we have a chance. So I just want to say thank you for the invitation. And I really am inspired by the panel, all the effort that's done globally. And I just want to say thank you for everybody's efforts, no matter large or small. Pat yourself on the back, and if you can help somebody, do that, and I think we'll be all the better for it. So thank you.
Thank Thank you so much, Curtis. I just want to say that the 2023 stand-up strike was so inspiring. That I work in film and television, and there was a film strike during 2023 too.
I see you out there. That's right. Yeah.
And it was this summer of solidarity. It was strike summer. But UAW, you guys were so strong, and it inspired us so much. And I think that we know that a lot of the rights we have in this country came through striking. They came from when people would pull the power back. And on the last 2 Fridays, I think that we've experienced something close to a general strike. And I think when Sean Fain is calling for the 2028 general strike, we were always wondering, how are we going to do this? How can we plan it? But we're starting to witness them. So like you said, solidarity forever.